Here we are. We went live. We actually went live.
We finally did it.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 71, folks. This is exciting. We're right now not we just had some technical difficulties, but also we're scrambling to get slides ready because me, just speaking for myself, just getting off of work, and there was just so many images to gather from this trailer that dropped today. So very exciting. Everybody that's in the chat, thank you for your patience and understanding. How you guys doing?
I was waiting for Bobby to say good news, and he wasn't here.
I know. We miss Bobby not being here. Yeah. And folks, if you're wondering, Bobby can't make it tonight. And he sends his best wishes to all of you. So we miss you, Bobby, if you're watching.
Absolutely, man. Not the same without you, buddy.
Yeah. So Oz, Adam, Sean, did you guys survive today with the drop of this trailer and all the stuff and balancing work and life along with all that?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It was bad enough today. Gosh, it was like swamped at work, right? Like getting one call after the next, like all day today.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm like just counting it down in my head, like, when's the trailer going to drop? When's the trailer going to drop? When's the trailer going to drop? Then the Toy Frenzy patron chat starts going wild.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that trailer's dropped. And like I don't have enough time to watch it. And everybody's kind of like talking like, did you see this image? You see that image? I'm like, I haven't seen crap yet. I got to wait until I get off of work today at this point to watch it. Finally was able to go to lunch and watch it. And like, I only get like a 40-minute lunch, but my brain was exploding for the whole thing. I watched it at least half a dozen times in my lunch break alone. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it just so happens that like my job right around this time after the holidays, it starts to get real busy because the semester's about to begin. And today was like the first of the busiest days, and it's going to be a run of really busy days. And it just happened to be, so I couldn't watch it until my lunch break either. And my lunch break was short. And so I think I watched it 4 times. Yeah.
It's nuts. It's really nuts.
Sean, you said you watched it like, what did you say, 300 times?
Well, it's in the double digits, but I'm not gonna lie. It was a hell of a background to have on while I was trying to work, and it's like today and the end of the week for me, I'm really hitting walls and trying my best to just. I gotta get this proof going. Yeah. I gotta get this next magazine going. I gotta do ads. And it like after you get to a certain point when it gets busy, you do just like, I just need a break. And then I hear that and I'm like, let's do this. And it was like motivational and everything. I was like, my God, I could not believe how much I couldn't stop listening to this thing today. And watching.
And it's cool. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I had a moment when it came on, so I watched it, enjoyed it, and then but the big thing was like the little flash of like Leech and Montana and Grizzlord. So like that, then I had to go back like, what? I mean, I knew they were coming, but I just I don't know. It made me happy to see those guys. They look vaguely 2000X-ish, not totally 2000X, but
right.
A little bit like there's some influence there. So that made me happy. So I was, in fact, I went back. So Oz and I last night did a live stream with Jay about this topic, and then that inspired me today after work. I went and watched like the last episode of Revelation, and just realized, okay, I'd forgotten a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I've been it's inspired me to think a lot more about it for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this trailer, and there's a lot going on in our chat. Let's see who's here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So
You
I
like
did
that
it the
transition?
clever way. I loved it. It
Mhm.
was beautiful. It was a great segue. I think we need to keep those kind of things rolling. All right, so let's start it off from the top here. We got my buddy's Customs hanging out with us, even
All
though
right,
he has
bud.
a pending snowstorm of doom on the way. So, Bud, be safe out there, brother. But glad you could join us for this. We've
Yeah.
got Ray Black hanging out with us. JMax77 is here, probably watching with the whole family as he does, which is great. We have Ace hanging out here with us tonight. Enzo's Creations is
All
joined.
right.
Thanos Copter, we got you here, brother. We've got Onryu83. Great to see you. The Darkness herself is hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, Duchess, for being here. We've got Ronald M. Shogun. We have Nolan in the house, which you know what that means. We are officially a Toy Tube stream. We have Collector Eternian Ellipse. Sir Clifton is here with us, as well as John, figuratively speaking. Good to have you all. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, it's great to see you all in the chat. And you know, for those of you that are watching that are part of our patron dialogue on Instagram, you know, like everybody's feeling it. Everybody's got feeling the feels for this trailer and what to expect from this. And honestly, like we talked a little bit before we started tonight's stream, and there's some things that I have questions about for sure. Like I'm a little concerned about too. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. And we also have a battle ram report ready for Adam. He's going to share that, and I'm just nervous about Bobby not being here to open it up, and you know, with his amazing opener narration.
I know it's just not going to be
Yep.
exactly the same. I was thinking that myself. Like, man, who's going to launch the? You know, I've got a voice, but I don't have Bobby's voice. I can't do that like kind of reporter style thing. Bobby's got a great damn voice for this.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, I'm
Also,
excited
big
about
shout
that
out
too.
to Ed hanging out with us tonight. Thank
How's
you
it
for
going,
being
Ed?
here, brother.
Yeah. So, dang. Do we just jump right in? Oh wait, no. First, what's everybody excited about?
This trailer.
Anything? Yeah, anything besides the trailer?
I got
I'm
a
excited
couple
about
things.
this.
Yeah, your Skeletor back there. I watched you guys stream last night. That was awesome. That was amazing.
Yeah, thanks for being there.
That was really cool. Thank you for inviting me again, and thank you for inviting Sean so that we could share that moment with you, because that's an epic moment, you know?
Mhm.
Like, that
Yeah, it
is
was a lot of
really,
fun.
really cool.
It was cool.
Just seeing it definitely makes me want one even more, but at the same point, I'm just like, don't dip your toes in that. You're already spending $80 on freaking bears. Last thing you need to be doing, spending $600 on giant cats.
Yeah, yikes! Right? I mean, it's crazy, but it's cool. It's cool to have been able to, like, you know, hold it and review it and talk about it. And this is my first time holding a Mondo figure, so that was a pretty exciting experience. Adam, you were saying that you got some things.
Yeah. So on the topic of Mondo, I actually won a contest and got
Ooh.
this fine gentleman.
Nice.
Nice. Oh,
So,
man.
which is kind of thematic since we're going to be talking about Hordak
Yeah.
today too.
Yeah. Right on the nose.
Yeah. So it was like a He-Man world. It's a forum site. It's smaller than the He-Man.org was, but they had a 10th anniversary photo contest. I submitted and I won. So
That's so cool.
He's pretty cool, and this is the deluxe one. So you see if I can do it. you can take off his glove, and then he's got the Hurricane Hordak attachments as well. So,
That's
love
so
it.
cool.
and
Just love
he's
it.
got the spinning ball mace too. So pretty
That's
cool.
beautiful. Beautiful. Can you let's make you big here and bring his face right up to the screen.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it reminds me just because I got this recently. So when the poster came out, I was like, oh wow, the Revolution Hordak reminds me a lot of this interpretation of it.
Definitely. Wow.
That is great. Gosh, I love him. Yeah, Hordak's great. Just phenomenal looking.
Yeah. He's great.
Anybody else feel like Hordak's like so much more credible now that he's being voiced by Keith David as like a threat?
Yeah, he has such an amazing strong voice. It's just
right.
Great choice for Hordak.
Yeah, perfect.
The other thing, really quick, is Frazetta Girls Dark Wolf. Got him yesterday too. So
beautiful.
Really excited about him. Beautiful figure.
Man.
Comes with a ton, like 7 hands, 3 different faces, bow and arrow with really sharp little arrows. So.
Poke your eye out, kid.
Toothpicks.
Yep.
That's really cool, Adam.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that. I love that figure, and that Hordak is gorgeous. Sean, do you have the Hordak?
No, I don't have the Hordak. Actually, Adam and I were trying to work out a trade, and I couldn't make it work for me. So it ended up he kept it, and I'm happy that he kept it. Honestly, he said he was playing with it, and I think for him it'll be a slippery slope as well. But just in general, I think that one's a really cool one to win. So it's a good win no matter what you do on that front.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, how can you lose when you're winning Mondo?
I know. That's what I was thinking. I mean, it's like I lost out because I couldn't help him with the trade, but it's like he still won. So there you go. It all worked out for him. And he also he got his Dark Wolf early, and I'm sitting there going, "How much did you pay extra to do that?" Because I got to wait till Tuesday for mine. That's what I'm excited about too. Next Tuesday, that's supposed to be here. So I can't wait to play with that one because the day I saw it go up for pre-order, I'm like, oh, I need that. I definitely need that in my collection.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw it at PowerCon. I went up to Eamon O'Donoghue's table because I've been kind of a fanboy of his for a while, so I had to meet him because he was there. So pretty much like, oh, okay, he designed this figure. I gotta buy it. That was pretty much it. Plus, I love the Fire and Ice. It's great cartoon. It's good that figure from it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then T
Oz Bakshi.
Yeah.
Oz, Sean, what are you guys excited about?
I'm excited for Tuesday when I get my Dark Wolf. I was excited all day today, which was in contrast to like recently I was doing the whole hemming and hawing. How excited am I going to be about this? What else? I'm excited because Sunday's when the pre-order ends for Mythic Legions, and I want to get a scapular out of the deal, so I'm going to work on that this weekend.
Gotta get it.
And that's about it. I mean, I'll be excited when my deadlines are done too, but that doesn't have anything to do with fun. That's just me. But you know, like, okay, and I will make sure I get another after payment this month. This is great. Oh god.
Well, the fun starts after the deadlines are over for a bit, right? Until the next deadline comes up, you know.
I have a slight breather for maybe a week with less work, and then all of it hits from the 5th until the 15th. That's when all my crazy hits the most, into the 20th actually. So it is what it is. It pays for toys and it pays for my home, so I can't complain.
There you go.
That's right.
Oz, what are you excited about?
Well, I'm still pretty excited. This past weekend, I pre-ordered my bear. You know,
cool.
So that's taken care of. It's paid off. Now I just got to sit and wait for him to come in. And I've been talking about that bear since the moment they showed him off in November.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I've got him. He's coming. I can't wait for it.
Mhm.
Now it's throughout the rest of the year. Our good friend Payne's, Aaron Samples, he had said something to me that just like clicked, right? So when we talk about Mythic Legions, we talk a lot about how they're the cheapest when, right, at least for us here in the US, when you could pre-order them from the store horsemen.
Mhm.
So like you kind of want to get them when the store horsemen have them available.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once they go to the retailers, then they all go up in price to whatever the retail price is. But here's the thing though, right? Like you're stacking 2-3 figures on and you're taking a whole lot out of each, out of your paycheck to pre-order all those. And Aaron said something to me about like, well, when it goes to the other retailers, do like one a month. And it clicked. It's like, yeah, if I'm only pre-ordering one a month at like, $50 per figure or whatever I'm paying, really isn't all that bad, because it's one a month. As opposed to like trying to figure out how I would do multiple within that time frame. Now, this last pre-order was kind of cool because it actually went a bit longer than it usually would. They normally give you about a month. Yeah, and with the holidays, they kind of gave you like 2 months. So it was really, really nice. And I mean, I'm not the only one who's excited about Mythic Legion. Joe here is saying that he's excited that the Poxus wave will be shipping soon, and he's excited about that. And then Ace has said that they're excited, semi-related to the trailer. Anyone else excited about anything from CES? Now, I'm not sure what those initials are. However, later we have here CES happening right now before the new Revolution trailer definitely feeds into techxiety. Buzz of making humans obsolete. All hail Skeletech.
Hey, I don't know what CES is.
I still don't get it.
It's clearly got to do with technology and communication that's coming out. Now, I did see some others pop into the chat here, so I want to get them recognized. We have Mike, Eternian Royalty, joining us tonight. Great to see you, Mike. Thank you for being here, brother. The beautiful Dawning of a Decade is here as well.
Right,
Thank you for being here, hon. And we just had Aaron pop in as well. Not Payne's.
Aaron.
Different Aaron.
Good to see Aaron.
So I just looked it up. CES is an annual trade show organized by the Consumer Technology Association, held in January in Vegas. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Consumer
January 9th
electronic.
through 12th.
Yeah. That's right. Now I remember from my GameStop days, they always had some crazy. Yeah, there you go. Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. It's where we find out about all those new phones that we got to go pre-order and pay thousands of dollars for.
If it's not Mondo, I don't care.
Right.
If it's not Mondo. The new Mondo phone is the new Mondo phone is supposed to be pretty cool.
The Mondo
highly
phone,
sculpted, well articulated.
It's like 5 times the size of everybody else's phone,
Exactly.
but it's so beautifully designed that you just go, I have to have it for some reason.
It's the gray skull phone.
I hold it to my ear like this.
And I saw I saw one of the coolest things that there's now this like 3D TV where it's like there's a panel that comes out and you can still see the image, but then you can put things behind it on shelves and stuff like that, so you don't lose the TV area to do things. And when I saw that, I'm like, that's kind of what they should do with that phone. Is you have the screen there, but then you can actually store things underneath it, like your wallet now and stuff too, or whatever. And or
that's
do a Tony Stark, and then all of a sudden you do this, and something 3D rendered comes out of it. You can spin it around however you want.
There you go.
That'd be badass.
Totally. I didn't get to say hello to some of the people that you posted up there. Who was it that's new? Vicente, great to see you.
Yeah.
Speaking Moistly, great to see you.
Speaking Moistly, Vicente. Great
Ahoy,
to have
Moistly.
you guys.
Cool.
Ahoy, Moistly.
Ahoy,
Moistly.
Instead of hello Moto, it's hello Mondo.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello,
I
Mando.
love that.
And we've got Code
Code Geass anime fan.
Geass anime
Code
fan.
Geass.
Mixed feelings about Revolution. Cautiously excited for Revolution. Yes, I think we all are cautiously excited for sure. I think I'm just gonna say this. I was very cautious, and now I'm like, here's minimally cautious. I was more cautious, and now I'm closer to here, because of what we saw in the trailer. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Well, before we dive into that big conversation, because we know there's going to be a lot to go over. We're going to have a lot of people chiming in from the chat. Should we start with the Battle Ram report?
I think that's a good idea. What do you think, Adam?
Sure, let's do it.
I just have to say, little preliminary note. I'm very excited about this Battle Ram report. I'm always excited for Adam's Battle Ram report, but when I was putting the slides together, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be real good."
I better be good now with that intro, right?
Well, let's cue up that music. I think I finally got this figured out.
All right, Oz, are you gonna try and do Bobby's intro, or should I?
You go for it. You're better off than me.
I don't know. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Battle Ram report.
All right. Do a little dance right before it.
Yeah.
Yes, I made the fade work.
Good job.
Good job.
Woohoo! I'm not incompetent anymore.
All right. So this Battle Ram report was inspired by recently getting Motu Classics Castle Grayskull, which I'll be paying off for the foreseeable future, but I've got it in my office. So I don't know the way a lot of with me, if I'm excited about something, then the way that manifests is I have to go research it to death. So I spent the week just kind of digging through what I could find. Okay, I was vaguely aware because I was on the forums. Right when I was getting back into He-Man, this was kind of announced. So I remembered a little bit from all that, but I went back at the time the Four Horsemen published some of their process. Like they had a photo series called the 12 Days of Grayskull, where they did kind of work in progress pictures of the prototype. So I kind of put everything I could find together. There was like a MTV Geek interviews with them as well. I got some pictures from that. So put it all together, got as much information as I can. So let's go over it. So first was the B sheet that they kind of used to pre-sell this. So it was basically something that I believe the early version came from Mattel, and then the final versions were done by basically Dave Barch working with Eric Treadaway to sort of finalize what they were going to do with it. But they kind of mocked up what they thought they could do. They didn't have a prototype to show. They just put together like it'll basically look like this at approximately this scale. So kind of going over the features: removable minaret at the top, removable handle featuring the left tower platform as per the Mark Taylor prototype, secret door in the back. And these were some of these were put into like the Dark Horse Art of He-Man book back in 2016. So I think a lot of people have seen these. If you go through to the next one, it kind of shows sort of the top view, how what the part of the plan was to put in a floor on the inside as part of the playset, showing kind of the elevator and the trapdoor system that would be put into place. And then there were some, additional ideas like potentially, putting Spirit of Grayskull, which they didn't end up doing. And until the Origins line where they finally did something for that, but never appeared in classics. If we go into the next one, it kind of goes over their interior ideas. So originally, you had this idea the trapdoor is going to go down into an actual dungeon cell, which they put in a dungeon, but just due to some size constraint, they weren't able to have the trapdoor actually go into the dungeon. But there were some other ideas there, like the secret door on the side of the tower. It was supposed to open with a candlestick stand as a lever, which would have been cool, but again, probably not.
Very young Frankenstein.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of see a lot of this if you've ever looked into the castle. A lot of this ended up in there, but there's some subtle differences to how it actually ended up. And of course, not all the accessories made it in either.
Right.
Like the triangle rack, and they did point dread and talon fighters as separate piece, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think we can go to the actual prototype process. All right. So I put together. So I know. Yeah, these were taken by Eric Treadaway as he was sculpting it. So I know they said about 16 people worked on it. So all of the horsemen plus a bunch of contract, artists that they brought in. So it was basically I think it was a 3D printed scaffolding. You see that blank part that Joe Amaro did that part. So basically, like, this is what they're going to sculpt the details over. So they did that. Eric Treadaway did most of the rocks and all the face, just in terms of sculpting with Castelline clay, which is kind of a wax-based clay. So you can kind of go over the details, so he gradually adds more and more to the castle. I think that's actually a later photo after, or no, that's not a later photo. That's slightly out of order, but you can kind of see as the face starts to take shape over kind of the blank walls. And it sort of just gets gradually refined. I know he had to sort of melt down some of the clay and sort of spread it over in order to get everything to adhere and then sculpt on top of that.
I just love looking at these process photos.
Yeah. And it was kind of one brick at a time, like just, hours and hours sculpting individual rocks on the side of the castle. Kind of a thing of beauty.
It's definitely a thing of beauty. Like, this is the absolute pinnacle to me of play sets. Like the vintage one was always just one of the greatest play sets of all time.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, they took everything from that and just amplified it and made it more fun to play with or display as a diorama, however you wanted to do it. And it's a prize piece to have in anybody's collection.
Yeah. It takes me back to sculpting each of the individual bricks on the one that I made. It's just like, you think, oh, I can do this. And you're like 1/4 of the way through and thinking, dear God, I don't know if I can make another stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you probably went to bed dreaming of those little.
I did.
Individual.
I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was
What
like dreaming of stone
nightmares.
surfaces. It was bad.
Yeah. And I believe like just from interviews, and so his idea as far as what's going on here was the base, like the bottoms of the towers and the face of the castle, he imagined was sculpted out of rock, and then
Yeah.
the towers were built up brick by brick later, like it was
Yep.
something added later over the years. So that's kind of what he was envisioning as he was sculpting it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You can see that here, you know, whereas we couldn't really see that the history of that in the vintage one, but you can see the history of how this could have been built in this particular sculpt.
Like what Joe's saying, he would love to see what Eric could do now with digital ink, because now he uses like ZBrush to do a lot of the sculpting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just without having to do it all the tedious detail work by hand. Which, it's still important. It's still beautiful. It's a work of art either way. But yeah, seeing what he could really do now would be impressive.
I mean, honestly, like if I was Sean right now, I think like half of my life down in my toy room would just be spent looking at the surface of this thing, like, and just reveling in the fact that it was hand sculpted. You know,
right?
Digital rendering is cool, but when you look at something and you can almost see the fingerprints, almost you can see the hand, in the work of it. There's nothing quite like that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is the best reason to get in trouble with your wife.
I mean,
yeah.
I still to this day will never live this one down with my wife, and every time I come back down here, I just look at it and I'm like, she has no idea what it meant to get this thing, because everything with classics for me was like graduating from being a kid and loving this stuff into my adulthood and appreciating it in a different art form, even though it's still an action figure, the way that they made them. Yeah. And for my money, this is the best version I've ever had of Grayskull. The only way they could top this is if they brought the Horseman back and just do the one you wanted to do. And let them go from the ground up and turn it into something bigger and better. But this is a hell of a playset in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. The back section, or the side section, some of that was done by Shane Ditzworth, just because Eric he ran out of time and he needed some help. But it's pretty seamless. Like he followed, the sculpting style that Eric had started on the front, so you can't really, tell.
Right.
Yeah. The clay they used, the wax clay, that was the same that Mark Taylor used to create the original Grayskull too.
Nice.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
So you can see from some of the MTV Geek stuff, these are the molds. So like there's the mold for the sort of the armature, and then the mold for the actual finished front, sort of the molding process. So the process was sculpt it, over the armature, and then make molds and do paint masters from the casts that they made from the molds. You can kind of see as we go some of the results. So that basically what happened was the original clay sculpture. That's what happened to it from the molding process. They got a good mold from it, but it broke the original clay. So kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's tough to see.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. But there's one of the white casted pieces. They made a bunch. They had to do a bunch of paint masters and show it at Toy Fair and send it to China and all that stuff. So
I wonder who has some of these. Like, are they just at Four Horsemen Studios sitting in the back somewhere, or do you think?
No, Mattel's got a hold of this. They're not letting anybody else have that.
Well, I will say though, at the Four Horsemen Studios, they do have a lot of the 2000X. They're like almost statues, the 2-ups of the figures that they worked on, and they're in a case in there. They have like Teela, Cyclone, Clawful, all like they're all just there, And every time I've been to their studio, I will go over there and just look at that, and I'll get made fun of because they're like, "You just looked at that the last time you were here." I'm like, "Doesn't matter. It's Masters.
Doesn't matter.
It's
Right.
Four Horsemen. It's everything
To me,
I love."
this is history.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
this is my grail spot. I'll never be able to take these home. I want to commune with them while I'm here,
Yeah.
I only have so much time. You get to see them every day.
Yes, it's like it
Yeah.
wore off for you. The magic's. It's like the Polar Express. I still hear the bell ringing, man. I still hear the bell ringing. I believe.
Yeah.
So,
And I know there were some imperfect ones that they didn't end up using. I imagine those are sitting on the shelf over there.
Oh,
I bet somebody at Mattel has one of these too. Like maybe, I don't know if Scott took one home or somebody, maybe one of the executives.
No,
took
we
the-
know Scott doesn't have one because if he did, he would be plastering it all over YouTube.
That's true, probably. Yeah.
no
But
pun
somebody,
intended.
I'm sure
Use the
somebody
word
else.
blaster there.
Yeah. Maybe a VP, somebody's got one.
Definitely somebody.
Yeah.
I'm
so
gonna
this is
find one of these days.
Yeah.
I'm determined. It's gonna be like a it's a mad world. It's gonna be a journey to get this. Let's do a hunt for this.
you know what got me when I first got into the groups in Facebook, and before I was doing anything like this, there were groups where they would post this image where it was somebody putting the classic Grayskull into a Goodwill cart, and it literally had like $20 on it because they thought it was the
Wow.
original. And
Oh
somebody was
my
like, I guess somebody's wife got really mad and took their stuff to Goodwill because look what you could find. So then, like that month, I went to the Goodwills locally, just any Grayskulls here, and stuff. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
of course.
I
Yeah.
felt like Indiana Jones, like it belongs in a museum. It doesn't belong in a
Yes.
Goodwill,
Absolutely.
I would have been all over it too. You know what though? I will say this, like maybe we got to pull that whole idea for Area 51. Like all of us just have to storm Mattel headquarters. They can't stop us all.
There you go. They
We'll
got some
get
good stuff there. Yeah.
That's Sherry.
Yeah.
Totally
Sherry
joking,
Lynn
folks.
Cook.
We're not organizing anything like that. I'm not instigating anything.
Yet.
Sean on that keyword.
Aaron just said, Skelly, I have a classic Grayskull in the box. I just need a good price. Putting those words out there, my friend, is quite dangerous. There are people in the chat going to be like, oh my God, right now. Anybody tuning in and watching this is going to be like, what? Who's this guy, Aaron? So definitely,
define good price.
Yeah, define good price, my friend. Define good price. Maybe you and I should have a chat privately.
Yeah. There are many sales posts out there with people saying, I'd like it for a decent price. What does that mean to you?
Yeah,
it's always
exactly.
a different answer.
It's very subjective.
I love that, Aaron, but that's really cool of you to say that. That's neat.
Also, shout out to Scott Baker here too, joining in.
Scott. So we got Sherry Lynn Cook doing the Paint Masters. So she had to paint up. I think they did like 4 Paint Masters of this. So she does all the paint for the Four Horsemen stuff. Or at least I assume she's still there.
Yep. She's still there. Her and Cameron are the painters over there. Typically.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can actually catch her on one of the more recent episodes of Legion's Ladies, an all-female-led Legion's, live toy talk show.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's does great work. But you can see a couple of the Paint Masters there from the front.
Beautiful.
The Paint Masters, obviously they have the best paint. Really, it's kind of rich colors and the final ones do have some of that green mossy stuff, but it's a much lighter and it's harder to see in regular light. You can see it in certain lights better, but it's not quite as nice, of course, as this. So there you see some of the dungeon cell pieces and the floor piece having been painted up. Floor was a little different. It got a little bit more like it didn't have edges like kind of the sloping edges at the end, but that ended up at the final. But that was kind of the early floors. There you can see some of the wooden
But-
pieces like platforms, the trapdoor or the drawbridge, the elevators, the jetpack, and the dungeon gates, and the robot, and everything else there. I do know the ladder they made using actual pieces of wood
That's
from
cool.
that
That's
like
cool.
twigs that somebody found. I forget who did it, but it was made from real wood and cast up.
It's the way to do it, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing. You want
Yep.
you want your wood to look real, use wood.
That's right.
That's cool. I saw somebody post on eBay, gosh, about 4 or 5 years ago. No, maybe more like 6 years ago now. But they were selling the suit of armor alone on eBay for like $25. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like I was just not. I didn't even click to me. Like I thought that they had like made it or something.
Yeah.
And I'm sad I missed out on buying that.
Yeah, you used to see that stuff. If you see it now, it's like for $100 or
Yeah.
really inflated prices now.
Yeah.
So we got next more of the pieces: elevator, support pieces, throne, computers, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
All
Amazing
painted
stuff.
up. And you can see, the kind of the base color. And this one looks a little darker than kind of what they ended up with.
Mm-hmm.
But
Beautiful.
Yeah, just shows off that gorgeous sculpt there.
Oh, drives
I
me
love
crazy.
the profile too. You can see just how much how much it juts out, like the face. It's just got this 3D thing. It's not the compressed look that you've seen from some of the other incarnations.
Yeah. Origins.
Origins, 2000X, both of those.
Yeah.
So this
I don't know.
was
Origins
done.
doesn't feel as flat, but it feels too symmetrical. I love the asymmetry of the vintage and this version, that more organic look to it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was offended by how symmetrical it was for Origins. I was like, that will never be in my house. I just can't do that.
That's one of the reasons
I haven't
where. Yeah, I got mine over here, but
I mean, it's if you don't have one, I get it. I'm not going to say that you're a bad person for having one. For me personally, I was lucky enough to have my vintage still, and then I got the classics one. But when I saw how symmetrical that one was, I was like, that's just not my. That's not my great.
I will say this in total agreement with you, Sean, and in a slightly different way. I bought the Origins Grayskull. I was excited about it. And then almost within a month of that happening, I really started to get the itch to get myself a vintage one. Because nothing, I know the Classics Grayskull is absolutely gorgeous, but nothing compares, in my opinion, to the vintage one. It's just like there's something, it's because I, saw it as a kid and was blown away by it.
That one's like coming home again. And that's the thing. You're coming home again. The Classics Grayskull is like you have a nicely refurbished home that's mind-blowing to you, and it makes you feel like you came back home again.
Yeah.
But there is nothing like that Christmas morning unwrapping that box and seeing Grayskull underneath the wrapping paper and going like, "Oh my God, I finally got it," or whatever.
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. So the Classics Grayskull is like owning your own island with a Frank Lloyd Wright house on the island.
Yeah.
And the vintage Grayskull is like if you like Frank Lloyd Wright, it's like a good authentic mid-century home. And then but the Origins Grayskull is like like a
Kia.
like a McMansion out in the suburbs.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say the vintage Grayskull is like having one of those black vans with Frank Frazetta painting on the side
Yes,
of it.
yeah.
Like you're blasting like 70s
Yes.
metal and stuff. And
Yes,
That's
it's
right.
like
Yeah.
that's vintage Grayskull. And then this is more like the hey, I got the 4-bedroom house thing now and all that. And I got
Yes,
the kids and the
exactly.
mortgage and all that. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And the van is in the garage.
Yes, it's
And the
in
van
the garage.
is in the
It's
garage,
still there,
yeah.
and it's giving
Yep.
you that spirit of what you loved back
Yep,
before you got a
exactly.
mortgage and 4 kids. Yeah.
All right.
I
So
love looking at. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Robert.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I love when I was looking through your slides earlier. I was just like drooling over these detail photos of the jaw bridge. The way the teeth are sculpted, the way they're cracking, the tongue, the textures,
Mm-hmm.
just really cool.
Yeah, and I was going to mention this was done by I'm probably butchering the name, but Georgi Javovich. He's done stuff for the Horsemen quite a bit. Like he did like Ram Man and the New Adventure Skeletor for Classics line. So he does a lot of that really highly detailed stuff. So he put a ton of those details into this.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You kind of see as it goes through. To me, like this one reminds me a lot of the Rudy Obrero art. If you look at the bottom jaw, kind of the way those teeth are, I think he was inspired by that one a bit. There's the front, of course. And you can see also the dungeon grade. He did that as well, which didn't end up getting used, but it was they made it. Sadly, did not get used for masters, but beautifully sculpted stuff.
God, it's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I want that like this big on my wall.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And there's everything all painted up.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
So
one of the most amazing play sets ever created.
Absolutely. So this is when it was first shown at Toy Fair. It's a little different than Final. You can see He-Man's just barely fitting through that open jaw bridge, which caused a lot of negative feedback from fans. Like, this is too small, because it had come down like 1.5 inches from the original estimates, just because they crunched the numbers, and they at the $250 price point, they had to do this size. You can see physically it's a beautiful looking playset. You can look at those gorgeous paints on that version. But because of that base that they've got, kind of a thick base, that kind of made it for a small entrance. So they did end up, we'll see in later versions, they came up with a solution for that. But there's the interior. Initially, they were going to have sculpted walls in the interior, like some kind of. These are just kind of flat, but the idea was to do like individual brick sculpted walls inside, which again didn't work out just due to costs. They did that. It would probably be a similar look to that jail cell, but on all the interior walls. But it would have been too expensive.
There's
jail cell, trap jaw. Yep, it's a pretty cramped little jail cell.
Yeah, he's a little tall in there.
Yeah, it's kind of based on a Ted Mayer concept for a little prison playset. You can see it's a little haphazard. Yeah, there's Roboto.
He had too much.
They had to play too much. Yes, exactly. They had to play with the heights of the different floors. This is kind of preliminary. It didn't quite look final on the inside when it was first shown, but yeah, totally gorgeous from the outside.
Still, incredibly gorgeous. Wow.
Yeah. So I think, let's see, where are we in the slideshow?
This is the we haven't gotten to the next prototype.
Yeah, this is still the Paint Master at Toy Fair.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so the next, whatever the next section is, that'll be like an updated,
The
updated
pre-production.
pre-production sample. Yeah, so they changed
Yeah.
a few things. You can see they kind of lowered the drawbridge. They put a notch in that base.
Yeah.
It increased the height of the drawbridge. So basically, that gives He-Man some additional clearance if he's standing there, so he's not going to bump his head on the top teeth.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
So this is the version that everybody ended up with, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think this one's still a little bit nicer paint on
Yeah.
the greens, but it's not like a Four Horsemen cast thing. This is from the factory, but it's like an early sample from the factory. So it's it's in plastic and it's close to final. They added a slot for the sorceress's wings, but it still didn't work very well just because she had the way she does these stiff plastic wings. It allowed her to sit, but the wings kind of splayed out weirdly. That was something they tried to address, but didn't
This
quite
is a
work
scene right out of Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So just additional photos of the exterior. There's some interior shots where you can kind of see some changes too.
Now, is that door on the side of the ledge there that we're looking at? Is that on yours?
Yep.
Oh my god, that's so
That-
cool.
That door, yeah, that's the secret door that Scareglow has that in his reliquary or whatever you call it. So it's that little tiny key to Grayskull, and he's the only one that has that. So that's why if you want to get a Scareglow that's from Classics, make sure that's there too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. There's two secret doors, right? There's the one on the bottom floor and the side, and then there's one by the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say that's one of the things that I like about the Origins Grayskull was that they kept the sculpt of the door in that section on the bottom now?
Mm-hmm.
Like they left that in.
Yeah. So it looks like it's a door. Yeah, pretty similar to the final. They painted, for whatever reason, up on the top of the elevator. They painted the inside of the shingles, which I'm sure was a mistake. It's not like that on the production model. But you can see it looks more spacious inside. Everything's more ordered. So I think just having the inverse of the exterior, just a wall thickness for the walls of the castle made a difference.
Yeah, I think that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much final. Then I ended up with just a really cool picture I found. I had some archived images from, if you go to the last picture, a couple more. There.
Yeah,
so this
there
was,
we go.
Yeah, so that's Mark Taylor being shown the new castle. I think it might have been at the German convention, like the Grayskull Con. But yeah, then there's Emiliano Santalucia, just kind of going over. I don't know what his impressions were, but it was really cool that the creator of the castle got to see this.
Mark Taylor's like, it's all right.
It's okay.
You're too symmetrical.
Oh man, Mark Taylor, what a gem of a human being, right?
Yeah,
man, that's cool.
So that's the what I spent my week after getting the Castle Grayskull doing is finding all this information.
And thank goodness for it, man.
So I've spent some of this time here looking for a particular meme that is just hilarious, but I'm not going to be able to find it. And it ties along with what some people were saying in the chat earlier about, who needs a wife? Just marry your Classics Grayskull or anything. And although he's not holding a Classics Grayskull, Jay from Geek Dad Life, when he got his Origins Grayskull, somebody did that, like, 1 in 4 men are truly happy, and it's got like the pictures of the guys all miserable, and then it's got a picture of him holding that Grayskull up. Kind of like how I was talking about the Mondo phone earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
And I was
Mondo phone.
thinking, it's not like exact, but the Revolution Castle Grayskull, not the Horde version, but the original. It's at least it's similar to this one. It's a little bit more
Right.
architectural, but it's the outline is very similar. So if they wanted to reissue this for Masterverse, I say go for it.
that's
They
what I'm
definitely
saying.
should. I mean, they can. They can. It's that simple. They can. Let's just Mattel just do it. All right.
Yeah, everybody needs one.
Everybody needs one. Well, Adam, epic. Absolutely epic. Makes me want to get out to the garage and work on my Snake Mountain right now. It's beautiful.
Bye, Skelly.
Bye.
Like we just lost him for the night.
Oh, he's
He
gone.
meant it.
He's out. All right, guys, here to talk about Revolution. Great show. See y'all.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Well, now we get to we're going to talk about Revolution and share our theories and our ideas and our impressions of the trailer and all the stuff that's come out. The toys too, that have been like the Keldor being leaked and all the stuff. And we've got 2 sets of slides to go through here. They're not super lengthy slideshows, but it'll definitely get the conversation going. I'm going to start with Oz's slides, and because I think it begins with the most discussion we could we might have about Skeletor's situation in this, in Revolution. Shall we jump into it, guys?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so Oz, at what point in the trailer does this happen?
So there is a brief glimpse at the very beginning where it kind of pans in, and you do not see this shot for very long. It goes into the rest of that, like all the skin melts off very quickly, very rapidly, and it's just skull behind. It took me a while going frame by frame to get this exact scene.
Yeah.
But it's that very horrific, this is how Keldor becomes Skeletor. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring that up for tonight is because, anybody who's seen, and I was starting to think maybe I imagined it. I didn't have enough time tonight after work to go back and really watch that, but we all discussed it, back in the green room before we went live tonight, that with Revelation, it seemed like they were going with the origin that he was a demon.
Well,
and you know what? Bud says it too. I thought they confirmed in Revelation that he was a demon from another world.
and,
Like I said,
and the prequel comics show
thank you.
A kind of history. So, is this like the Joker, where it's like, will we ever know his origin? Are they trying to do that to us? Like, where
does that mean we're going to get the story of the 3 Skeletors? Like the 3
the
Jokers?
story of the 3 Skeletors? I mean, I'm interested in every version of Skeletor. I'm a huge Skeletor fan. This is now just a Skeletor shelf, like,
right.
And but I'm hard pressed to know that there might be, or to try and figure out a logical explanation for this, unless it's some sort of a dream sequence or something. But we now know also, because of the Masterverse line, that there's going to be a King Keldor action figure, and we don't know if that's New Eternia or if that's Revolution. And this kind of, I don't know. I mean, or it's hard to understand it. And Joe is bringing up a thing here, Keldor possessed by a demon. Well, part of the problem with that is that in that prequel comic, they show the world that Skeletor is from, and they all have skull faces. So that was another thing that was pretty different approach to his origin story or who he is. I mean, I can't figure out what this is in reference to, except for it looks really cool.
Yeah. So like, I guess we're falling back. One of the things that I've noticed, and we'll pick up on it throughout these slides, that where when we were originally, or when it was originally presented by Kevin Smith, that Revelation was going to be very much a sequel to the 1982 or 83 Filmation series. Yeah. And it really, really wasn't quite that. Like I said, there were some elements, but let's face it. You don't have to have it as a continuation from that original series. It stands on its own as its own thing, its own separate medium, right? Yeah. Just like push that off to the side. Don't even think of it like that. Where we see a lot more in Revolution, it feels like a lot more of it leans on 2000X Mike Young production, right? Because that's where they relied heavily on the Keldor story. Because initially that's only mentioned in like one mini comic, and it's very ambiguous by the end of it. Well, is Keldor really, Skeletor? Like, what's going on with this whole thing? Because they never really explore it more than the one mini comic. So, like, again, here that was fleshed out more in the 2000X series, and then we see a lot of that coming through for this version of in Revolution here. And one thing that I like about that too is, again, like Adam and I, we were on Mega J stream last night where we were gearing up for the conversation, gearing up, talking about the poster that dropped yesterday and the reveals from that. But like, we had no idea about what was going to be revealed with this today. And I just think it's really, really awesome. Like one of the very first things in the trailer is this. This is very early in the trailer.
I mean, Sean, what are your thoughts on this? Like, how in the world could they explain this if we adhere to the prequel comics? I mean, it's perplexing.
I'll be honest, it doesn't matter to me at this point. For the fact, like, I like the fact that he is the demon from the other dimension, and if they go here, then it's like, okay, then the prequel book really was him just making something up to talk to Evelyn about, which then makes me go, so I wasted my time reading that, and it didn't add up to anything. Which that is not a thing that I want to even think about, because Revelation bothered me on some of those levels.
Yeah.
And the way that I took this, and I'm trying right now to go back slowly through the trailer, it looked to me like he was trying to get the techno off his face.
Mm-hmm.
And the techno's blue. So I don't know if that's really the Keldor thing. I feel like he's because there's no way Skeletor is going to always have that techno stuff. He's Skeletor. He's going to
that's right.
Be his own person. They might be showing you what happens by episode 5 in this shot.
Yeah, that's true.
They did that in the previous one where, okay, you got to see some of He-Man in battle at the end of the episode 10 or whatever it was, and we had to wait all those episodes to get to that point, but there he is in action again or whatever. So I'm still looking, and I'm playing it at like a quarter of the speed that it was at normal speed just to see if I can see it, but I could have swore it looked like the techno stuff is leaving his face and it's Skeletor again. So I could be wrong, but I read it that way when I saw it, and I watched it how many times. So each time I just was like, I think that's what's happening in this image.
That's probably what's happening. Although Bud's idea here is pretty interesting that it's like reverse. It's not the removal of skin.
Yeah,
it could be that it's coming onto it, like he's growing the flesh.
Could be that.
Maybe he probably captured the Holy Grail and they opened it up, and this is what happened.
There we go.
Exactly.
I like that.
He looks like
or no, the Ark of the Covenant. Sorry, wrong.
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
movie.
The Ark. He looks like Stripe at the end of Gremlins when he pops out of the water.
Right. Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's just a couple things there though that really pull me towards the Keldor thing first, right? So when we see him with the techno stuff, he's wearing different robes. Like it's got the red trim, the red outline. This is just more solid purple. The techno stuff doesn't really have any blood, and he's definitely got an eyeball. And that's one of the reasons I wanted this. Because although the techno thing, it looks kind of like he's got like that eye lens. It always looks like it's lights or holographic. Like this looks like he's got a solid eyeball. And with the reveal of the King Keldor figure, maybe what Bud's saying is true. Maybe this is actually some kind of reverse thing where flesh is going on to his face in a completely horrific fashion.
Yeah.
Well,
I can see.
Wrong. I just found it and I did it slow-mo. So, yeah, I'm wrong. But at the same time, I'm one of those people that when channels do this and I haven't seen something, I'm usually sitting there going, talk about the stuff I want to talk about because this isn't that part. I'm so sorry, but it's like if Keldor shows up, cool. If he doesn't, I don't care at this point. I want to talk about the other stuff that's in this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
There's too much, and I got work I got to do.
It's true, and there's actually there's so much going on in that trailer. I have no idea how they're gonna stuff that into what is it, 5 episodes?
5 episodes.
Here's Hordak fighting with Skeletor back when Skeletor is working for Hordak, and I didn't notice this, but Adam and Oz, or maybe it was Sean, maybe it was all three of you when I was
I think
you guys are talking about it being the Fright Zone, and I'm like, right on, that's gotta be Fright Zone.
John picked up on it too. He's saying that has to be Fright Zone. So, like again, I'm digging the fact that we're going to go back more into the origin of when Skeletor was training under, because this has got to be like one of these things where maybe we spend some time in an episode going over the history of Skeletor here.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm hoping it's, you know, about as maybe long as Evelyn's origin was in the one episode, just so that way it's not like a full episode, but enough to kind of flesh out the backstory a little, maybe.
Yeah.
How things were for Skeletor under Hordak, right? I think that would be pretty cool to go through. So
I agree.
This next slide up was a lot of buzz yesterday. People were trying to figure out, okay, is this Sir Lazelot? Is this new robot, kind of Roboto? You know, some theories were spinning on Mega J's channel what this could be. And I think it was Dad at Arms posted it. He was the first one to post it that I saw, that this was Man o' War, which apparently is the mantle of Man at Arms after being Man at Arms.
Yeah.
So then on the very next slide gets revealed.
Oh, there he is.
That's Duncan wearing the armor. So it's definitely him. There's no questions about it. There we go. We also get our first good look at Evelyn's like full kind of costume. Because even though she was in that poster that was detailed yesterday pretty heavily, you get a better look at her here, I feel, in her new costume.
I want to know what Bobby's a huge Evelyn fan, as am I. I want to know what Bobby's take is on seeing Evelyn as a potential heroic warrior. I have mixed feelings about this. I don't know if I'm comfortable with my favorite female villain of all time being a hero. I don't know how I feel about that.
So I watched the last episode of the first season today, and she actually that's how she looks at the very end of it. I'd forgotten that, but she when she's kind of
Right.
walking away at the end, she's got this hair, and
Mhm.
I had totally forgotten about it. It's like when I saw this poster, I was like, oh, that's a neat new look for Evelyn, but
Yeah.
I'd already seen it and I totally forgot. And I want to give a shout out. I'm going to post this in the chat. I'd watched, my friend did a video, Yuka Isakainen on his Toon Yuka channel.
Yeah.
So after our live stream, I watched this. He goes over the first teaser and he covered he mentioned this Man of War is Duncan and all the stuff that we were kind of struggling with yesterday. He'd figured out. So that's a good one to check out. It doesn't cover this new trailer, but it's a good one on the first trailer.
I love what Yuka has to say, man. He's great.
He is phenomenal. Huge insight, great resource. I mean, he was the one that dropped all those Mattel Creations dates, a while back, and it was like, yes, thank you. But some people were saying they don't know how Evelyn can just. Okay, so you wiped out entire parts of Eternia, Preternia. You killed millions of people, you destroyed souls, but you're willing to be a hero now, so we forgive you.
Well, I'm with Joe. I'm with Joe. And I'm hoping that this is the case, that she's the queen of double cross. So I'm hoping because if we have all watched the Filmation series. Evil Lynn always has like a subplot, a plot
right?
that either it's almost as if if you analyze the She-Ra cartoon deeply enough, you can see that Shadow Weaver is in control. If you watch the He-Man cartoon, if you analyze that deep enough, you can see Evil Lynn's in control. And so I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah.
So,
But
I've been watching the Filmation cartoon again, and she is the strongest villain of that series. Like,
absolutely.
Skeletor is kind of more comedic. She is really a threat.
She's badass.
Yeah.
She's a serious threat.
Yeah, Skeletor's biggest thing that held him back in that show, and in all the shows, is his hubris, right? Like, it really, really holds him back from ever achieving. Lynn does not have these issues.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Skeletor holds her back. If she were in charge of everything, the story'd be done because she ain't gonna take no crap off of anybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. She's too smart for her to not be in control. So my theory is that she's always been in control. So I don't know. We'll see. And then we got Disco Skeletor over here.
There we go.
Well, yeah, more
hitting
of
the dance floor.
Skeletor's, right? More of Skeletor's new look. So, like, we see the Technode version of him, and then he's got the crown on, and then we see, a very big homage to the Disco Skeletor look. And a little bit later in the slides, there's even a better image, but that's where I end the slides at. So we're not going to jump right ahead to that. But I just wanted to show off some of the new looks that we're going to see for some of our heroes. There's a couple of looks I skipped on, like the Battle Armor He-Man, because we've all really seen that a lot, with the last teaser trailer and everything. But this new King Grayskull He-Man, like, that's a pretty big thing that was revealed today. And as people start to pick up and notice, he's got the King Grayskull emblem on his chest from the CGI version.
Yep.
And the art here is very reminiscent of King Grayskull in that third season of the CGI Masters of the Universe that we had. So that was really cool.
What the heck is that? Like, what are they doing? What are they doing to us? Are we crossing the streams here? Like, this is really interesting to me.
Well, I mean, it's not unheard of, right? Because in that final season of the CGI, they had Revelation He-Man pop up in that. That was a great episode, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe we are seeing a little bit of that here. But, like, it's the heroes in this are really diving deep and trying to obtain new power, from what it shows, right? To kind of battle against this new threat. So He-Man's digging the deeper into the powers of Grayskull, and then we've got Tila.
I don't know. Is that He-Man?
Wow, maybe it's just straight King Grayskull. Well, no, because we've already seen King. Well, then again, we already knew that Skeletor was a demon, and now he's Keldor again. So
I mean, it's like it's.
I'm sure it's He-Man. I mean, to me, it's got the same face. He's got the power sword. He's just got a different costume.
And there's even parts of the trailer where he's talking. So I mean,
Yeah.
This scene actually, he's challenging Skeletor. So it's one of those things where it's He-Man, but
it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
I'm trying to figure out the shoulder. I know I've seen a He-Man before with like the Grayskull emblem on the shoulder. But
it's on the snake armor one. Well, no, the snake armor one has like the snake on the shoulder.
Yeah. So. Is it like, I don't know, maybe one of the DC comics from the last decade, or I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
There is a familiarity to this, and it's hard to pinpoint it because there's so much going on in this costume.
Right.
There's even a little bit of New Adventures going on. With something about the belt buckle or something. And so it's confusing. I think it's because everything in the trailer is so out of context, you can't figure out. I'm imagining this is some sort of power up fight between Disco Skeletor and Golden Michael Bolton He-Man.
Right.
I don't know. Well, none of us are talking about the Green Goddess right now. Tila, which is like really cool design, borderline, almost way too provocative. Like, but like, really, really cool to see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Allison points out the midriff look for Tila as well here. She looks like a belly dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she looks like she's at Jabba's palace. And I mean, I don't know. There's got to be. You all seen the scene, right? Where Tila Sorceress goes. We're assuming she's going to Granomir and asking for help, and he does this to help her, and it's sort of an interesting. I'm not sure. It's like
I'm not laughing at you.
I want to know what I don't know what's going on. I mean, and then I'm also confused too because of the history of the Snake Men and the snake armor thing in 2000X, and like I'm kind of like there's just a lot. Both of these shots, I'm glad you put them together, Oz, because there's so much going on in these two images. It's like here's my fear. Is all of the lore coming together in these 5 episodes? And is that going to be too much? Or is it going to be just right?
I'm hoping it's paced well and it's not rushed. Because, one of the things that I noticed about this, like when we saw Tila yesterday on the poster as the Green Goddess now, like she didn't have her sorceress staff anymore. So I was expecting like this. She gets a power up from Granomir and kind of taps into another set of powers beyond what she had as the sorceress. And that's where we see, she's not the sorceress. She's now the goddess. And even in Revelations, right? Like we always see the Falcon Zor versus the snake, right? Like in all the dream sequences and everything.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to see this parallel here where Screech, now the Falcon imagery going to Motherboard. And I brought this up on last night's stream too. And now Tila embracing this more snake look. So you still have that Falcon versus snake imagery, but now it's reversed, right? Like the snake normally being the sign of evil with the snake men and everything. And, if you go by 2000X with Serpos, now being the good guy in a way to tackle this evil technology-driven Falcon with Screech.
That's interesting to me. It's interesting.
But now here we see she's clearly tapped into both sets of power from the sorceress and the goddess.
Mm-hmm. So, Sean, what was giving you the giggles?
Oh, I'm just like the He-Man Michael Bolton thing, and all I kept thinking is, I'm so glad this is the final trailer, because if Ted Biaselli heard us tonight, we might get one more where it's going to be He-Man and Skeletor, and they're playing "How Can We Be Lovers If We Can't Be Friends?" It's like the rocking version.
As long as we get another Skeletor and He-Man dance sequence.
Oh man, like
I'm
that's all I
okay
can
with
hear
that.
in my head right now. Like they're doing really like. The trailers are surprising me because I like when they did Revelation, I had no idea that all of a sudden out of nowhere Bonnie Tyler's going to start screaming in my ears, and I'm like, okay, didn't. And now today with the new song, and it's like I couldn't not think of Ralph Macchio even during that. And all that. But still, it's like they're doing some stuff where I'm like, okay, the first one felt a little like corny and campy, I think, because of that song, even though that I still like that song. But this one had this like driving power to it that I was like, I needed that for this for the first time. Like I needed almost like this reassurance because of that song being in it for some weird reason. But
yeah, it was a good song choice.
Yeah.
It was a really good song choice.
I think so. So, again, it was something I referenced last night that, you know, in the commentary for 2000X, they mentioned how Skeletor got the power sword. That's why he's got the dual sword that splits. So they had to find another way to access the power of Grayskull for He-Man, which is why he had that new techno-looking sword. It was originally something that was built by Man-at-Arms. So what I like here is we get another key piece to that where we clearly see they use a technology-driven version of the power sword here. And of course, we know Gwildor, an engineer and an inventor who built the cosmic key. Seems like he was able to unlock this potential from the power sword.
Okay. So we know now that, I mean, here's my heart says that because of Shatner's line in the trailer, we know now that Shatner's most definitely going to be Granomir. Got to be talking about magic, right? It seems like that to me.
You mean Granomir or Gwildor?
No, Granomir.
There was an announcement
Yuka,
of who Gwildor or who Granomir actually will be played by.
Yeah. Oh, who?
Yuka. Let me pull him up here real quick.
The actor who plays Q in the Star Trek Next Generation.
John Delancey.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about that, and then you think about Shatner, Q being in the Star Trek universe, Shatner being in the Star Trek universe, cool parallel, just wrong captain.
Oh,
also, what's her name is in it too? She was in Star
Deanna
Trek.
Troy.
Deanna Troy.
Yeah, she's
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I missed that, but who the heck is Shatner playing then? Because if he's talking about magic and it's not Granomir, who's he playing?
I'm going with Gwildor. I mean, out of anybody that hasn't already been in the first in Revelation, like Granomir's one, obviously Hordak's one, but we've already know who that's Keith David. I don't see them putting Shatner into any of the Horde members for the you know. So it's like Gwildor showing up is kind of a big deal in my opinion because it's the first time he's ever been in anything since the movie. And that line about the using magic and stuff, well, it's like this new sword is going to be technology probably mixed with magic to help He-Man. So I kind of think there might be like him and Orko and maybe Evelyn working together to make this new sword so He-Man can fight the Horde or something.
It could be. To me, I've always imagined Gwildor as a tech guy, like, and so it could be like this line where he's saying, yeah, the tech was good, but we need a little bit of magic.
Mhm.
And I can sort of see Shatner playing Gwildor.
Shatner's
but
real blast.
Shatner's real
Allen.
blast. I can just picture Shatner as. I don't know.
Crackers the Clown.
Yeah, Crackers the
Oh,
Clown. Yes,
geez.
definitely. Or Uncle. What's Orko's uncle's name?
Montauk.
Yeah.
Montauk. Yeah, yeah.
That's
That would have been.
that's not off the
makes sense to
table
me.
yet, though. Just saying,
That
that's
could've
not
been-
off
that'd be
the
cool.
table.
That would make a lot of sense actually.
I always like
Gwildor.
this idea too.
Yeah, Shatner's Many Faces would
Yep.
be good.
Yep. Really good.
All right.
Good
So
hammy
tech.
actor.
Adam brought that up last night.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. So we got tech and magic coming together. Tech and magic and the natural world fighting each other. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And look at that. There's that sword.
Right. Last night again, somebody pointed out that the power sword had kind of a different look to it in the poster. Like you can see some more lines along it. And we were talking last night about maybe it opening up or accessing the power. And here we actually see that realized, right? Like where it opens up, very similar to how the one in the 2000X version did. Also very similar to how the one changes in the new CGI version, where it opens up and has different abilities.
Yeah.
So now we see that with this one as well. And again, with He-Man with that more King Grayskull looking armor on, you see the cross guard down at the bottom kind of opens out a little bit more. And so again, it's that technology accessing the magic and being able to use that in new ways to fight against these new threats that they're dealing with.
All right, I have a toy collector question for you all.
Yes.
Is anyone going to be buying this version of He-Man and putting it on their shelves? In our group of 4 people?
I will be. I actually really like this He-Man. So
unless I had
I'm going for it.
like a Michael Bolton character that I could mix and match with this guy, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I bet the armor is going to look really gorgeous in plastic. I just he's just I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I
made him.
Yeah, there he is. Right.
He's got the red cloak.
I mean,
took that King Grayskull cloak for him.
I will say that the He-Man that's coming out through Masterverse, that's the Battle Armor Revolution He-Man. I think that guy looks pretty darn good.
That's the best He-Man they've released since they rebooted the line, for my money, at least. The 40th was pretty decent too, but 40th, there's something about that one.
40th is definitely up there with everything but the face sculpt in my mind. I did not like that face sculpt. I liked the new Eternia Battle Armor He-Man. I really dug that with like the single pauldron, but I gotta, the shield seems cool because it was different on that one, but then like it just kind of doesn't dawn on me as much. And as time's going on, like I definitely appreciate the new Battle Armor He-Man. To me, he's just really good.
Yeah. I like it too. I agree with Sean. I think we're all on the same page. That the He-Man's pretty good. And it's a good example of how they can redo the face sculpt from the Revelation He-Man and actually make him look like he could be just a He-Man that's independent of Revelation.
Right.
And also independent of the vintage. And it's kind of like, I'm cool with it.
Well, John showed us the side-by-side with the Revelation and the new Battle Armor Revelation He-Man. It's a big difference on the sculpt, and it just looks so much better.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about this.
So, again, the reason I kind of chose this scene for one of the slides is it shows that open power sword again, right? Like, again, it's clearly kind of split open a little bit here, and you can't see it as well here, but when you got like a really big screen and you're looking at it from the video, again, that cross guard has a very similar style where it comes out and like down and back like this, kind of like the 2000X sword had. And I just thought it was a really, really good image. I think this happens probably a little bit. I mean, Tila's in the sorceress outfit, so I'm not sure when this is going to happen exactly, but
It's a little strange.
well, I
guess
assume it
it's
ties
probably
in with that.
towards-
Oh, go ahead, Adam.
I'm going to say probably towards the end because he probably needs this to finally defeat the Horde. So maybe Tila eventually goes back to her Falcon look. By maybe the
Yeah.
goddess thing is temporary. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It's an interesting image. It's hard to tell It's hard to tell what she's doing. Is she hurt? Is she helping? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it kind of lines up more with the images at the very end of the trailer where Adam is holding her.
Mhm.
And
Oh, yeah.
clearly Adam's holding her in a very similar manner here. Those end images, she's in that Falcon sorceress look, less of that goddess look that she has. So, something along those lines is definitely happening.
Maybe they converge and they become Gila.
There we go.
I wouldn't even put that out there because there's already enough people that today that I've seen online yelling about this needs to be canceled because of agenda, and I'm like, you people just suck.
You know what?
What?
People who get caught up in that, they just need to look at the calendar. That's really all they got to do. Realize that we are in the year 2024, and people have changed. And
believe me.
Yeah.
I got into a fight with one person, and I decided my life needed more than just dealing with that today. But there was a guy who literally was saying they're pushing an agenda on our children and don't watch it. It should be canceled. I'm like, it's not made for our kids. Like, what are you talking about? He's like,
made
they're
for
doing
adults.
it through us because that's how they get to them. I'm like, my kids don't want to watch this. It's too intense for them. Like, I don't know what the hell you're thinking, but obviously, he's like, trust me, I'm protecting you. I go, I don't need your protection. I'm much happier just knowing that I don't believe any of the shit you're talking about. That's all there is to it.
Right? Like, I
But
just don't want to hear your shit.
Unfortunately, these people are cropping back up again because this show is bringing out that kind of garbage again, and it's like, oh man. So
I don't.
People are hungry. They're hungry for something to be mad at. And what kind, we must live in a hyper privileged universe to just have the time to look for something to be mad at.
Yeah.
And that is like first world problems, man.
Oh, yeah.
And if we can't enjoy this entertainment just for what it is, like rethink stuff.
Pretty much.
Also, read the news. There's shit going down in the world that is much more deserving of our anger and frustration.
Absolutely.
That's my rant.
You don't hear me complain about anything you just said. I just could not get over the fact that this is still happening 3 years later.
Yeah. It's
Come
crazy.
on. Jeez.
I'm all for it, by the way. I'm all for Tila with the power. I'm all for Evil Lyn with the power. I'm all for Skeletor with the power. I want to see it all. I want to see Orko get the power.
The one thing I will say when it came to Revelation that I just kind of scratched my head over was Evil Lyn with the power just had me going. It wasn't even the issue of her look. It was the fact she turned into such a nihilistic character that I just sat there going, this took a whole different, we're in a whole different trailer park from where we started on I-81 going north. What the hell is happening here? And why are we having to deal with
We
this?
had that.
It was so out of left field that she went down that path because up until that point, I figured her having the power would be the most dangerous thing beyond even Skeletor getting it. And it turns in, yes, it is, but on a whole different level of like, it's like that whole honey, why are you mad? And she just doesn't want to talk to you, and you're like, oh, this is not good. But
This
you're
is
like,
not going to be
where did
good.
this come from?
So yeah, in watching it, when I watched it the third time, I was like, okay, I could kind of understand why. I was looking at all the clues. I could understand why she would feel this way. She's you know, you live under somebody's shadow long enough, you see suddenly you have one moment, the next moment one moment you're living under their shadow, but you're unhappy, and you have mixed feelings about that oppression, and then the next moment you suddenly see that there's nothing to the universe, that we are meaningless, and that's when a person can spiral. And I was like, I get it. I've been in similar situations, and it's like I could see, like, if I had certain power at a certain point in my life that could potentially change the universe, that would be terrifying. And I kind of see how it makes sense to me psychologically. I mean, she's in an abusive relationship, and something's going to snap at some point.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think for me, that was just like one extra thing that out of nowhere, I'm like, we have to address this too now. We got enough storylines. Can we not go? It's like by the time that series got to the end, I'm like, I feel like I could have had 2 episodes of He-Man leading the charge instead of just the one, because we had to go and deal with all that stuff. And that would have been kind of like a cool middle finger to everybody that was giving it such grief up until that point. But
yeah. Ace says hashtag existential dread. Yeah, for sure.
Hashtag Nietzsche Lin.
Yeah, Nietzsche Lin. That's right. Now, I do want to say also, with this Revolution trailer, I mean, we're seeing potentially a lot more action, I think, in this in Revolution than we saw in Revelation, but also a similar convergence of a multitude of ideas and storylines. So we could be getting the same thing from Revolution that we got in Revelation, which is like, one thing, you think that you're surprised by one thing, and then another surprise is piggybacking off of that surprise. And it takes you, I think we're going to be taken on another ride like that, though maybe it won't be so jarring, as because now we're used to the vernacular of Revelation. It won't be so jarring, but I think we're going to have that.
I think this series, because it's 5 episodes, it won't mess around the way that Revelation did, because Revelation was them kind of, I wouldn't say Revelation messed around because it was trying to build the story, but I feel like there was points where I'm like, it could move a little faster if it wanted to, and they just left it at its own pace. This one, from this trailer, I'm just sitting there going, how is this fitting into 5 episodes?
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. I mean, look at this scene.
Well, that, and then like there's the stuff that they showed at SDCC on top of that, where it's like Scareglow versus He-Man, and so that's a whole thing that we didn't even get to see in these trailers. And then all the stuff we saw today, and it's like, I don't think they have time. They do not have the time to mess around in this nearly as much. We know Randor, something happens there. They're going to have moments with that. Whatever this flashback stuff with Skeletor will be. But I think those might be the only things that you're worried about. And the rest is just going to be off to the races. Here's an adventure. Let's do this.
Yeah. Now, let's look at these images. We've got Randor's crown, but and the shape is similar that we're seeing in the gold and the other one. But what are we looking at here? Whose belt buckle, or whose crown, or what is this that Skeletor is looking at his reflection in?
So, I mean, clearly we see more images later. Skeletor's looking and admiring this crown, but it's definitely not Randor's crown, right? It's
a different
you've got these shorter little spikes to the side, like the other parts curve in more. I said there's some images later, but it was actually earlier. We also see that again, that classic Skeletor look. Like that's not Skeletech looking into that crown and seeing that shine. That's
Okay, yeah, look at that. There it is.
yeah. So it is a much different crown. Okay.
It's a different crown.
So Allison
And
saying that
he's-
it looks like Marlena's crown.
Yeah, it does. It does,
Maybe.
Allison.
Maybe Randor is buried with his crown and then takes it off of Marlena or something.
Oh gosh, is this Marlena?
No, that is definitely Tila. You
Okay.
can see the red hair. Like it's you can see the sorcerer's outfit again. Like I took one clip of that shot. There's other like this is a whole sequence that they show here with this.
Got it.
And you see more of Tila in there.
That's devastating if that's Marlena's crown. All right. Then you threw in a picture from the previous teaser of this scene. Tell us your thoughts on this, Oz.
Well, I mean, again, this looks like it's more from like that first sequence that we saw as well, where He-Man is battling against Scareglow. It seems that somebody has been hoarding the mystical objects.
Hoarding.
Or storing. Glad you caught that. Or storing the mystical objects of Eternia.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to make Sean big here real quick.
This is Marlena's crown.
Okay,
and it
no,
is
that's
not
different.
The same.
That's
It's
different.
not the same.
So my guess, and this will just be a guess, is I think it's something Skeletor creates for himself to say that he's the king now or something, since it's not, or he uses Randor's as the base and makes it his own somehow.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right. Possibly, yeah. Because, I mean, again, I think that's, again, part of like a flashback sequence where, again, maybe he thought it was his right to rule, somebody else's crown, perhaps. But just, again, we're seeing a lot of callbacks to a lot of different episodes. Like, the Ray of Disappearance is clearly seen like more in that middle shot there. Said if Adam's able to see more of these items, he could probably tell us a lot more.
I zoomed in. I forgot I can kind of pinch and zoom here. They're not clear enough for me to figure out. Maybe once we get a better shot, but my guess is there's probably other filmation kind of artifacts. There was a ton of magical artifacts in the show, but
yeah, that's cool. I mean, this big monster thing is great. I love it. All the eyeball things on here, and look at how small Battle Cat is next to this.
Yeah, it's definitely why I was glad this shot was really, really highly detailed. Because again, I'm just pulling from whatever I'm streaming from YouTube here and cutting out a quick frame. So this shot came out clear. We get to see Battle Cat going toe to toe with this giant. It reminds me of like a Robeast from Voltron.
Yeah,
it's definitely like a monstroid from the Horde kind of thing. You know how Hordak's always messing with this technology.
Do you think that's exactly what I was going to ask? Do you think this is a monstroid?
It's a type, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like on Secret or no, the Christmas special, they had several monstroids. They all look different. They're all giant robots.
That's right. I think it's going to be a monstroid.
But
I
really neat scene.
Yeah, it's cool. I like what Joe said, that maybe it's Keldor's Prince crown, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they do that.
And Bud's saying that, maybe it's like a older Gar crown, because, reason Keldor's blue is because he's from the Gar people. So.
There's Granomir.
Granomir all decked out.
Dragons.
Right. Decked out with his helmet, all his little battle armor. And we just saw in the last scene that now mind you, again, this is a very different monstroid Robeast type thing. I'm not sure what the scaling size of this particular one is, but what happens in the next few frames is Granomir It slaps the hell out of this monstroid. Not in the slideshow, but that's what happens in the trailer. Just completely smacks the crap out of this monstroid. And so it's like, as big and devastating as that other one is, it shows the power of the dragon to just show up and be like, get the fuck out of here.
Now, who's doing his voice? Oh yeah, the guy Q. That's right. Okay.
Right. Scott Baker posted his name in the chat earlier. John
DeLance.
Yeah, John Delancey. Cool. I like him. I like that actor. So that's good.
He's good at being contemptuous of other mere mortals. So that'll be perfect.
Yes, totally. Looking down his nose.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Could be Miro's crown.
All right, this is what got me going. And I know Adam, you're on the same page with me on this.
Yeah.
I mean, this really got me giddy.
I had to save these for the end because I knew this was going to be the more of what we wanted to talk about right here. Our horde, our monsters, everybody. We finally got to see more than Hordak, more than Motherboard, and not to play down Motherboard. I think she's an awesome new addition to the horde, and it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense having her around. But getting to see one of my all-time favorites, Grizzlor right here, the Wolfman of, the horde. We got one of Skelly's favorites with Mantana. And then one of the ones that doesn't always get a whole lot of love, Leech.
Yeah, Leech.
Yeah, Leech is my favorite from the horde. I always love Leech.
Epic.
There you go.
I love it, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to see how he does his thing because he's got a bit of a Tyrannosaurus Rex face going on here. So if his mouth like opens up and he like this thing like spreads out and he's able to suck the energy out of people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see these three guys in action.
I'm hoping it's kind of like if you look at the 2000X staction of Leech, where he's got the mouth, that kind of the red sucker thing. It's within his mouth that'll he bites, and then that thing like sucks in the blood. I think maybe it's like that. We'll see.
So that would be really cool. I like that. So I did want to address this because with this scene and with a couple other shots throughout the trailer, what we mostly see from the horde. Right, we see these three guys, which were three of the core members that were originally released for the horde. Again, we now have Motherboard, right? Who don't we see in a lot of these horde things?
Katra or Shadow Weaver.
Exactly. Scorpia, she's not here.
Scorpia. I mean, Shadow Weaver should. I so hope that Shadow Weaver is in there. She's one of my favorites.
I have a feeling that's not going to be the case because that's Filmation stuff. And I have a feeling Motherboard's going to be taking her place because she's like right there with Hordak and all that. So I think they're trying to sidestep it because of the rights issues going on.
That's what I feel here, right? So
I'd love oh, sorry. I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
No, go for it, Adam, please.
I'm hoping they'll do a cameo of Mosquitor and Dragstore, since those guys were never in animation.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm right up there with Sean. Like, that was one of the things that I picked up very quickly with all the shots that they've shown, right? Is that with She-Ra and all the Princess of Power stuff, we all know for entertainment rights that falls under a different umbrella. They can't really touch that from Mattel or from Netflix. So with that being said, we're probably not, see right here. For media rights, they're all tied up in something else. That's why they're sticking to the ones that they do have more access to, which were characters like Leech, Grizzlor, Mantana, all of which were around before She-Ra and the Princess of Power. They were part of the original Masters of the Universe lineup, not so much the Princess of Power lineup that we got later on with the toys.
It's a little confusing because they all showed up in the cartoon too. So
they did back then when all the rights were in one house. But the thing is, the toys that Mattel has all the rights to were everything that was originally Masters of the Universe, right? That's what they can use. The stuff that was
Okay.
introduced later, those rights Mattel wasn't so careful with. And, again, part of what like Scott Nutlick likes to talk about how they sold the rights and then they had to buy back or whatever. Right now, for media purposes, Universal has those rights.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why like there was plans to do a live action She-Ra on Amazon, I think it was, or something like one of the.
They were trying to
Again,
launch a live action, yeah.
yeah. So we're probably not going to see any of them with this, and again, that's why we've introduced Motherboard. She's going to be that more Shadow Weaver. He's clearly more tech than magic driven with this, which we've kind of seen in a lot of the earlier stuff as well. We'll probably see, again, like, some of the history is going to deal with magic, but the one funny thing about that is as much as we see with the techno cult and Motherboard and all the technology that Hordak is flexing, we don't see tech with these guys really.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me. So that's kind of a perplexing dilemma. And also, is their Horde emblem different?
It looks like the
It
wings
looks a little
are
lumpy.
little. Their wings definitely look like straighter, less like poised up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Maybe
they're wearing older Horde armor or something. Maybe we're
maybe
looking at
they're
early.
Mm.
Well, no, because I talk about it a little bit with the scene coming up next here. So just wanted. Unfortunately, they didn't give us a better look at Leech, but Skelly, I know how much you love Mantenna. And when I saw this part, when I was clipping through the frames, again, it's a blink and you'll miss it section.
yeah,
But
he's shooting out of his eyeball.
right, he's got his crossbow, which is that big thing for the toy, and it's really all like, I'm sorry, this was my favorite image of
Yeah.
Mantenna that you could grab, because you can also, in the shot next to it with Grizzlor, you can see him off in the background a little bit behind in that doorway.
Yeah.
But you also see Leech back there as well.
Yep.
This shot of Grizzlor was a really good one, really clear, really crisp. And then this shot of Mantenna was great. So I was like, we don't get much of these guys in the trailer. So I definitely wanted to steal what I could and show them off. And they look gorgeous. Now, I did mention with the guys about this again prior to the show. This scene that I got this Grizzlor from, there's a lot of the scene that's actually cut out so I could frame it right next to Mantenna here. So they're coming into a hut that looks very similar to the one we see Gwildor and Orko running out of later. So the Horde definitely shows up to try and grab Gwildor, or at least they try to go after him. They know he's up to something. And they raid his hut, and that's where Grizzlor is breaking in here, and you see that doorway is far too small for your average. But then again, Grizzlor looks like a huge beast in that other picture. Like, he is jacked. He looks way bigger. And again, it's probably the way the pose and the frame is. We have no idea. He could be standing on something, but like, he looks even bigger than Leech, which Leech was always like the big heavy boy of the Horde. But Grizzlor's looking pretty beefy.
Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing these guys in action. I'm totally stoked.
This makes up for 2000X for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It gives us that thing that we wanted to see.
Well,
Yep.
that's the thing about this series that is interesting to me, just as, okay, we never got the third season of MYP, and they kept alluding like third season was going to be the Horde. This almost could be an abbreviated version of what they were thinking of doing in its own way, but I feel like there is elements of this where you're maybe going to get a little bit of a taste of what it could have been like in 2000X.
Yeah.
I'm very curious based on that. Now that we got away from that initial story, which for me is like, okay, this is almost like the beginning of the story for me now. And like, let's just go with it and see what happens, because now we've introduced this version, and now the Horde's showing up. It's like, okay, if this is the best third season option I got, I'll take it right about now.
Yeah, exactly.
As a huge lover of the 2000X, like again, where Revelations was kind of sold to us as a sequel to Filmation, this one feels to lean a lot more onto the lore of 2000X this time around, which again, that's something that I really, love and really respect. And I'm like, Sean, if this is the closest I'm going to get to my third and final season of the Mike Young production, let's go. This is the scene that I wrapped up with for a couple of reasons. First off, we get a full, really good body image look of their version of Disco Skeletor, because that's what this looks like to me with all the orange strapping. You even got like the gold pants. And now you see some more tech elements too to Skeletor here, right? Like his face almost looks like it's reverted back, but he looks like he has like other tech portions to him with the bat symbol on the chest. And it's not the Horde bat symbol either. It's a very different bat symbol here. You've got these like wires and hoses. Now I'm putting my cursor over it, but you can't see that. Like right above the hips, right? Like he's got like them hoses kind of coming down to like, there. That knee guard, again, part of this image is cut off, but that knee portion down there, that's mechanical. Like below the knee, that's all mechanical. Yeah. That is not his usual leg. So either Skeletor loses a lot more of himself at some point here and goes kind of like the biomechanical from New Adventures and that brief comic in between, or I'm not sure what's going on here. But the other element that I liked about this, I feel is very reminiscent to the final battle between Skeletor and He-Man, and maybe it's the flashy red cape, although Dolph Lundgren wasn't wearing the red cape in that final fight scene in the 1987 movie. This just feels like that epic battle between Skeletor and He-Man, and mind you, by epic battle, I mean quick cuts between characters with a whole lot of flashy, swinging around the sword, not a whole lot of actual fighting, but
black background,
maybe that's what it is. The lens flare in this just kind of reminded me of that. But I gotta
say, very reminiscent of the movie,
right? Like I just got those feels from this, and again, not sure at what part in the film or in the series we're gonna see this battle. But I'm all for it because we have like this really beefed up, powerful version of He-Man, like a full power He-Man versus like some crazy amalgamation full power Skeletor. Pumped. How could you not be pumped?
I got it.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I got it. I know what happens. There's gonna be a scene where Skeletor is in the fright zone and Motherboard's very lonely, and she comes up to Skeletor and goes, "I saw last season, Evelyn got in your lap. Let's get this done, boy." She sits in his lap and amalgamates with him. That's what they call it on Eternia. They're not allowed to call it reproduction. It's amalgamating. And the next thing you know, with their powers combined,
look at that.
A little bit of Vicks, a little bit of hot dog, and
bada bing, bada boom.
With a little bit of tinglies because that electro technology is running through his veins and all that.
And that cool menthol from the Vicks on your ball. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. I love how I danced around it. You just went for it. I love it. But
I went for it, but I cut it and self-censored too. I didn't finish it.
Ace does have a really good point. They look like Motherboard's wings
I
instead of
thought
it
so
being more
too,
like a
yeah.
bat symbol. The more I look at it,
Well, in
and
some of the other scenes, it looks more batty because there's a couple of clips before this where you see him
yeah,
zooming in.
yeah.
But no, I agree. It's got the wing portion of it is like 100% those motherboard wings.
So I'll just say it right now. The one thing that is worrying me, and it started when we talked about Michael Bolton, He-Man, and it has nothing to do with 90s hits at all. It has to do with the fact that we said it looks like New Adventures. And the fact that now Skeletor is going techno in this thing right now, and it makes you think New Adventures. The haircut for He-Man is starting to make me think New Adventures. And if they do a third, I'm almost nervous of what, because I mean you're getting a mechanical you could almost say it could become an electronic power sword. The whole thing splitting, there's power coming. I'm just sitting here going, if they start saying New Adventures now is going to be badass, I'm going to probably say I can't do any podcasts on He-Man when that happens. I can't do it.
Well,
can't do it.
look at Skeletor's face on the right here. He's definitely got some. I feel like there's some New Adventures influence here on
that's what's worrying
his
me.
face design here. He looks a lot like not the action figure, but the cartoon.
Yeah.
There's some of that
parts
going
of it
on.
may be a little cartoony. Like again, the cartoon version. I shouldn't say cartoony. It's all cartoony. It's a cartoon.
No, I'm just talking about the face. Just the face.
Right. The face does seem a little bit more New Adventures cartoon-esque. But for me, the other big thing here is like I kind of wish it looked more like Nate Barch's art in the actual poster. Like I kind of wish they were able to capture that here. This actual scene right here is probably the closest to that I've seen from all of the shots where we see Skeletech, where he looks closer to it. But Skeletor almost looks straight like he's coming from a T800 in the poster.
Yeah, that's true. I think this is an action scene, so it's a blurry. Like I'm sure that he's going to look much better than this, but no one's talking about his terror claws here.
That's one of the reasons that I did not chop that hand, because I wanted to bring up the fact that it looks like they're giving us like their version of the terror claws with it too.
All right, let's move on to Adam's slides. There are some repeats in Adam's slides, but there are some images that I don't want to start there. Sorry. I want to end there. Spoiler alert for the last slide. But we're going to start here. Look at those snake eyes on Tila, the green goddess. Gorgeous.
Yeah. And I think Allison mentioned
Dreamy.
that. Yeah. I love Greek Goddess, but it is based on that DC Comics version that came out about 10 years ago, as opposed to the original, where she's wearing more of a one piece. But I'll take any version I can get.
Yeah, for sure. I really did like this scene. Sorry, Sean, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think out of anything that surprised the heck out of me with what has been promoted in the last 48 hours, this is the part that blew my mind, because I never thought we were going to... We just had her turn into the sorceress, and now we're going to Green Goddess, and I'm just sitting there going like, didn't see that coming from a mile away.
No, I don't think any of us...
I thought we'd had that supreme version of her, like, you know, again, that idea of, all right, she's achieved really what they were looking to do with her, right? She has ascended to the role of sorceress goddess with everything that happened in Revelation. So them, with the reveal of her on the poster yesterday, I kind of lost it. I think that's what set me off more than anything else. Seeing Tila, or seeing this finalized version of the Green Goddess, like that's amazing. And like Nate Barch has championed her from the beginning. I think it's one of the best
Yeah.
stories ever.
That's his girl.
Is-
Yeah.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
You know, from the days of He-Man.org, you know, all the way through now, he finally gets to have his girl in the main media.
Yeah.
One other thing, a while back, Eric brought up the idea that they had to switch the voice actress. So Sarah Michelle Gellar is not Teela; it is Melissa
Yeah.
Benoist, who is actually she played Supergirl on TV, but she's also the wife of Chris Wood, who's He-Man.
That's right.
And he said when it came to the Shatner casting, he felt like that might not be Gwildor because they recast her, but they only recast her. They never ever said they recast anybody else who came back from the Revelation. It was only Sarah Michelle Gellar they talked about, and the fact that Melissa Benoist would be replacing her. So, as far as I know, and as far as media wise, they've not promoted anybody else being recast as their character, which then to me still leans into Shatner probably will be Gwildor, or maybe there's someone we don't know that they're really going to surprise us with that hasn't even been revealed yet that he's going to be.
Yeah. AI Billy Barty. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Mo.
All right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mo. Okay, so this is a repeat, but we see what she's holding now. The Havoc staff. We didn't talk about that. That's pretty cool and intriguing. Like, they're like, how did we get this? We're talking about it. What are we going to do with it? That's exciting.
Well, and it makes me wonder, is it like an illusion? Because it almost looks like it's kind of translucent of the Havoc staff, or are they saying like this is the key to how we take Skeletor's power now, right? Like if we take the Havoc staff, does he lose the you know, does he lose his power, or is that like how they're merging the tech with Skeletor? Like it seems like this is some kind of like war council to decide how they're going to take down Skeletor here. Like this scene, you know, that's why they're looking at like this Havoc staff. That's why they're talking to Evelyn, Heroin, whatever we're calling her these days. Because, you know, like that's the other thing. What are we going to call her? I can't see them calling her Evelyn this whole series if she's supposed to give redeeming. But another thing that I've been thinking about while we're on this picture that I know I didn't think about when I first looked at this because I was so excited just to see Duncan back there and Marlena. But you notice she's kind of got that blue drop on her head. Like at first I thought that was part of the headdress, but now that I'm looking at it, it doesn't necessarily, it looks like it's on her skin. So is she being trained to actually be the next sorceress?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I know they had like the 3 blue marks on the forehead last time.
Yep.
So I don't know how that, you know, if that's just like you get 1 mark when you're a noob, and then you get the 3.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You got to work up to it.
Yeah. It's like the Padawan braid.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll see. And I think it's interesting to see Marlena back there without her crown, like Thanos is pointing out.
Right. Well, Allison brought it up earlier. Like she's an off-worlder, right? She's not truly part of the Eternian royal lineage in any way, shape, or form. She was married into it, right? And so the Queen of England was the Queen of England because blood-wise, she was still related to the royal family. If she weren't necessarily of that direct lineage, and the king dies, she doesn't take the role of queen. She may be the queen mother because she's the mother of the prince or the next heir, but she is not the queen. So in this case, Prince Adam, being the direct lineage, would ascend to the throne. Again, by Earth standards, right? He would even have a more right to the throne than Keldor ever would, because again, Keldor, if he's only a brother, even if it's a half brother, the brother doesn't get the throne before the lineage of the direct eldest son. That's not how it works. The prince, the most direct line to it. So the firstborn son of the king becomes the king over the uncle. So, with all of this speculation about the Keldor, Rando's brother, ascending to the throne, I don't know how they're going to play it off, but typically the way it would be done would be that, Keldor wouldn't have a direct right.
Yeah. In some of the stories, it was Keldor who actually had the right to the throne, but he was basically, like, he was right. It was rightfully his, but because he was evil, they, had cast him out, and Randor took it. So that there's some canons are like have it like that. I don't know if they'll do that here.
Right. Yeah, because
Keldor
there
was the older brother, though.
That's true. Keldor was the older brother. That's right.
I'm not adhering to the Keldor thing yet. I'm not comfortable with it in this particular series. So if they do it, it's going to be a total surprise to me. Although so many arrows are pointing to this, it's just going to be it's perplexing. Honestly, perplexing.
Yeah, I sometimes forget about that storyline where Hordak manipulated everything too.
Mm-hmm. And I love this image of Orko and Gwildor together finally. Representations of each other.
The two comic relief characters.
Exactly.
I'm really excited about it. To Isengard. I'm sorry. Put that in everybody's head.
I'm betting this is in the first episode.
Probably.
It's got to be. This is like when they're like all that stuff we saw in that 2-minute preview, months ago. Mm-hmm. This is definitely from those sequences. Like again, you get a lot of hints from the background and what we're seeing, right? And Subternia was full of that green stuff, right?
This is so there's like a hand that captures Adam and Orko, and he changes in the hand and blows the hand up, and he's standing there. And then they get into action right after that. So that's probably the first episode, because Randor is also in that fight.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Does Scareglow? I feel like this is Scareglow's territory.
Yep.
Even though we see stuff that looks like the slime pit, but I wonder if Scareglow is the one that kills Randor, either on purpose or on accident.
I'm kind of thinking that's how it is, right? Because like we even see a portion where Randor jumps in to defend his son. Right, like he jumps in the way of danger. Like you kind of see that in that trailer, right, or in that preview. So we know he is definitely not worried about getting his hands dirty. He definitely will get out there and fight for his son and do what he has to.
Yeah.
So
and
go ahead, Adam.
Sorry. There's a shot I think where he's like in bed, like he's sick. So maybe like. There's a poison blade or something that Scareglow gets him with, and then he kind of, passes away over, time or something.
It could be that, or the other thing I was thinking is the fact that they're having to. It looks to me, in that part that played out, that they're going in after Clamchamp and Fisto. And it could be maybe there's like a poison thing, or maybe there is something that Scareglow does to him. But the other thing that I was thinking is, what if he actually sacrifices himself to bring them back?
Wow.
Sweat.
Oh, look, Cobweb just said that.
Yeah.
Just as Sean was saying, Cobweb brings it up too.
I think that's a real distinct possibility. Randor would do that.
Definitely. It would be the most nobly king thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
We'll
right, I'm
see.
gonna skip over Bolton. We'll skip over Bolton here. Sorry,
saw that already.
we saw this. Now we see it in this image. We see just a little bit more of the Fright Zone.
That's true.
It'd be really interesting to me. Let's say Skeletor invented that history of himself, and when he in the prequel comics, and that he really was a character named Keldor, not necessarily related to Randor. And he's working for the Horde, and they fight for some reason. And what if taking a long time to get to the point? What if the Fright Zone is where Skeletor loses his face? I think that would be pretty cool.
Could be.
Right?
It could be. The other thing I'm thinking is Hordax knocked him into about 2026. So the reason that he came up with that story in the damn prequel thing that I hated is the fact that he lands on his head and he's just thinks that's how it worked the whole time.
Yeah.
I
Well,
came
it
from
would-
a planet where we were all like this. This is how it worked.
It would just further substantiate the way you and I are both feeling. Is just avoid the comic book versions of Masters of the Universe right now.
I will
anyways,
say, really quick, I will say that Bolton armor is better than the armor that they introduced for He-Man in the latest book. I will say
you mean
that
the
much.
Orca armor?
The Orca armor, or even the Sir Laser-Lot thing that he has on when he first gets the Philogista stuff. It's like, what the crap is this thing?
I can't.
This
want to
is
sell
this is at
toys,
least
toys. That's
yeah.
all.
I mean, this at least looks more. It looks regal at least compared to whatever it was.
Agreed.
He and Cyclops decided to swap clothes or something with that weird headpiece he had on.
Yeah.
I gotta say, for me, I always appreciate. I don't mind redesigns, but for me, make him look more rugged. Don't make him look all shiny and fancy.
Thank you.
Like,
yes,
you know?
I'm with you on that, Adam. I like what Ace is saying here. I'd definitely be down with Skeletor lying about being an estranged member of the royal family. I'm down with Skeletor lying about his history, lying about his like the real reason why he wants the throne. I'm all about him lying, and really I'm all about Evil Lyn lying too. I think if we want an entry into alternate plot points that need to be straightened out or whatever, that's the way to do it. Like, I was lying. Joke's on you, people.
My only problem with that right now, Skeletor kind of gets a bit of a bad rap in a lot of ways. In the Revelation and Revolution, because Mark Hamill's doing the voice, right? And with Mark Hamill doing the voice, everybody just keeps going, oh, he sounds too much like the Joker. He sounds too much like the Joker. His mannerisms are too much like the Joker. Anybody who says that and then complains like that it's not filmation-y enough just needs to get the hell out, because that was... Look, Alan Oppenheimer kind of set the tone for Mark Hamill's Joker in animation as far as the comedic villain, which again, he, I'm sure, got influenced from watching like Adam West Batman with Caesar being Joker. But you know, the jokes that nobody will laugh at but himself kind of thing, you know, that was all Alan Oppenheimer's Skeletor. But everybody complains and says he's too similar to the Joker now, and every villain's got to be the Joker. Well, if he's going around lying about his origin time and time again, that crosses that line of, well, yeah, now it does feel more like... Because, you know, again, the Joker has told a whole bunch of different stories about, you know, how he came to be, right? Like Heath Ledger's version of it is the most famous in the movie The Dark Knight. Do you know how I got these scars? So, like, if we're revisiting that again, where he's going around lying about his origin time and time again, I think that'd be a little bit too played out with all the other similarities of it. I like a more definitive, this is the story of how this happened to me kind of thing. It doesn't have to be Keldor. It can totally be the demon Skeletor. But I think we're going to get that Keldor story. Now, who knows? Maybe he does think that he is. Maybe he got brainwashed quite a bit by Hordak, and that's what he thought. And then through all of this, right? Because like we've even heard Motherboard say Skeletor is a little bit too much of a rogue, kind of thing. And he's talking about starting a revolution. Maybe he unlocks some memories while he's Skeletech.
Maybe, yeah. And we'll have to see. I mean, we can't trust the prequel comics. Who can we trust?
I trust anybody.
I say trust Oz. That's what I say.
I don't say trust me. I just throw out a lot of crap and see what shit sticks to the wall.
I like it. That's disgusting, but I like it. I think
what pasta sticks to the wall?
I was gonna no. The Ace was making a comment earlier in the chat about how emo Skeletor is with his drooping cape over his eye. I'm with you on that, Ace. I think it's super lame. It's like he's Jared Leto or something. And then we've got this amazing
Joker reference.
Another Joker reference, exactly.
Yeah.
Worst Joker. Sorry, Jared, if you're watching, but worst Joker in my.
We know you are. You've got nothing better to do on that cult island you sleep on.
Now, again, we love this image. We want to see these guys in action, please. Yes, let's not have it just be a background shot or just a few moments. Let's have some. I want to see them. I want to hear them talk. I want to see some. I want to see some interactions.
Yeah, I want some serious screen time, and not just like basically how much Fisto got in the last one or something,
Yeah, exactly.
That is another one of my big worries with this being so short. Are we gonna get really enough screen service for any one of any of these great characters that they're introducing in this next season?
Yeah. Oh man, Allison. That's awful. I can't believe that happened. That sucks.
Well, just another reason to hate Jared Leto, right?
Oh, and this is the.
This was rough.
This is rough. I'm just gonna skip over this. It's gonna be a difficult thing to watch. Rio Blast, Snout Spout, Eternian Warriors.
Hey,
amazing.
Look, that Eternian Warrior is hands down the Rio Blast, Snout Spout. Yeah, they look cool, whatever. But look at that Eternian Royal Guard right there, right? He is putting in the hard work, just mowing down the horde everywhere he's looking. He's a definitive beast, the hero of the kingdom. That Eternian Guard, unsung hero.
Look at Sean's face.
Never has one Eternian Guard looked more like a red shirt in his entire life than this.
He's going down in a few moments.
I know he is not, right? Right?
Yeah.
He is doing all the work. He's doing everything. And it's all these other masters in He-Man taking all his glory.
Does Rio Blast have a cigarette in his mouth?
That would be dope, and he would become my new favorite Masters character if he was smoking right now.
Fun fact: the classics Rio Blast was sculpted with a cigar in his mouth, like a little cigarillo, Clint Eastwood. But that got cut.
He was supposed to have that gunslinger look, right?
It kind of looks like he has a cigarillo there, and is clenched in his stash there.
He does have like a red sight, like scope thing, instead of like the whole rig that came over his head. It looks like it's just like on one eye. He's got this sight.
I got to agree. The little scope over the one eye definitely works for me more because, that whole idea of a tactical helmet rig, like what he had as a toy, just narrows down your field of vision way too much. You got no idea what's going on around you in a fight. You're better off like not wearing the helmet at all and just closing your eyes and spinning around in circles, shooting at whatever.
Yeah. No, and also Snout Spout looks great too here. Like he looks good. He looks tough.
Turning World Guard, unsung hero, no respect.
Yeah.
I'm a historian. I'm sticking.
And here's Granomir giving Tila the power to be the Green Goddess. I'm assuming that's what this is going on here.
It seems to be, yeah.
That's cool. I can't wait to see that. And this is Skeletor, I'm assuming, giving Too Bad the techno power. And I'm really excited to see Too Bad in this.
Right? I'm pumped for Too Bad, but I got to wonder how this went down. Skeletor to start going through the Rolodex and being like, all right, who didn't we lose in the last fight? All right, let me call. Hey, what you guys doing today, huh? Why don't you come on down to Snake Mountain? I'm back. Yep, come on in. They come in. They're like, what's going on, Skeletor? And he's like, yeah, bitch, it's technology.
Yeah. I'm excited for this scene. I just love Too Bad, so it's going to be good.
All right. We got some headcanon rolling here, right? Thanos, with my joke about it being the hardest working unsung hero, Masters of the Universe is asking if it's Lieutenant Spectre. And Allison with the follow-up, if that's Lieutenant Spectre when the front line gets mowed down by the Horde, I hope we get him shouting, the line is dead! But that can only happen if it's April.
That's true.
We shall see. Anyways, that's it. I'm excited about this. I'm actually counting the days now to the 25th. I'm reserving that evening to just plow through all the episodes. And in fact, you know what? Let's do this right now. Let's see what we got going on with the Toy Frenzy calendar. Let's see. The Toy Frenzy calendar shows that the 25th is a Thursday night. So
yeah.
I'm hesitant to say that we'll have an episode that night. Just
Allison set me up as a member on her cast thing where I should be able to share screen watch party. So I'm going to finish setting that up this weekend. I'm going to try to set up maybe a little private test to see what we can do about doing, because the last private test we did not go very well. I'm going to try to see what we can do about maybe a little private test of doing a watch party, something small, nothing major. And come the 25th, whoever's around, if you're a patron member or whatever, we could do maybe a privatized watch party where we'll watch it together. We'll run a little commentary. We'll talk thoughts after maybe like the first episode. I'm not saying we're going to stream the whole thing in one night, although I know that's what I will eventually do anyway. But
I'm just going to say, I think I'm going to need private time with this. I might pop in. If you do that, I might pop in, but I feel like I'm going to need to sit down, concentrate, have my be honest and true to my emotions while I'm watching, because I have a hard time doing two things at once. But if you are doing that, then I might pop in for sure.
Yeah. So Ace is asking if Discord has a watch party feature too. Yeah. Well, the Discord definitely does have a watch party feature, but the last time we tried to set that up, it did not work so well. Thanos was there. Bud was there. It didn't work out as well as we'd hoped. There was a lot of disconnect. Now, of course, I do have a hard line now where I didn't have a hard line before, so maybe that could help things.
Maybe.
But the truth of the matter is we're going to have to test it out, see what we can do. I think the whole part of cast is that it's a little bit more stable. So, we're going to try it out. We'll try a couple different ways. I'll definitely do some testing over the weekend. But we'll see what we can do. Now, again, that's always a risky business thing to run because they can pull me, they can kick me offline, and everything like that. So that's why those things are Patreon exclusive. Now, bonus perk is you don't have to sign up for my Patreon to get those benefits. You can sign up to Skelly's, you can sign up to Adams, and then this guy here, Sean, whenever he sets his up, the Sean Lee
he's
fan,
like, I'm not doing it.
he's got
Buddies.
feet pics involved. He'll take pictures of his classic
that's-
stall for you.
or Bobby's too.
Bobby has one as well. We kind of share the benefits of the Patreon for the most part. Skelly's got some exclusives. Adam's got some exclusives. I don't really have much special at all, but the idea is sign up for any of our Patreons and you can jump in on a lot of those benefits. So the watch party has always been a package deal kind of thing that we wanted to run.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm all for it, and I will definitely pop in if it happens. I'm gonna probably need a break from my emotions while watching it on my own, and it'll be good to talk with folks and see what other people's reactions are. So I love that idea.
I imagine Sean popping in just raging all to hell, slathered up in Vicks and shirtless.
No, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing. This is one of those shows that like I just see it being like I'm more interested than I have been for like a while now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also just like,
see.
We'll see, because I am very cautiously optimistic still. So
yeah, I'm with you. I'm like right on edge. Like I'm it's getting my hopes up, and that's really terrifying me. Because when they start doing that, I get real excited, and that letdown is a little rough. So I'm trying to keep an open mind. That's why I'm like, I gotta have quiet time with it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on that, Sean. It's like that caution is right there. And then I also don't want to, one thing about at least my particular experience with Revelation is I really tried to not listen to the naysayers and the people that were having a hard time with it, and watch it through an unbiased lens. And that really helped me. Honestly, folks, here's a little bit of a lesson. That helped me enjoy it. Even with the things that I didn't like about it, I was able to, and I've been able to enjoy it several times since then in rewatching. Right. It's not the perfect rendition of Masters of the Universe. I don't even know if there is one. But
right. To you, maybe it's not the perfect, and to me, maybe it's not the perfect. But there's somebody out there who watched it, and to them, it's their version or their version.
and it's to people. Some people, it's their least favorite version, or not a version they should consider at all. And I didn't want to have any of those influences while watching it. So, yeah, I'm with Thanos. I'll still enjoy it. Happy to see Motu. Yeah,
new Motu breathes new life into the series. Like I was saying with Mega Jades last night, one of the best things about Revelation that I think was one of my favorite parts of Revelation, and it has nothing to do with the story, it has nothing to do with any of the writing or the creative team behind it, other than the fact that my good buddy Corey, who helped me get quite a bit of the collection that I have now while I was not working, he was not a big Motu guy back, when he was growing up and all like that. Like, he's only like 2 years older than me. He was not a Masters of the Universe fan, right? But he would get excited when I would start talking about Masters of the Universe. And then when I mentioned the fact that Kevin Smith was directing this new version of Masters of the Universe, he got excited because he is a Kevin Smith fan.
Mm-hmm.
Found out Jason Mewes was voicing Stinkor. He got excited that Jason Mewes was going to, make this cameo in the show. Well, at first we were hoping maybe he had a bigger role, but it was a very brief cameo with Stinkor in the first series. But he really enjoyed it, right? Like right down to the trailer. He got excited and really enjoyed the trailer. So anytime you can take somebody who's maybe not into barbarians and swords and sorcery or anything like that, has no attachment to the original series whatsoever in any way, has no attachment to He-Man in any form of nostalgia. He remembered it, but he was never into it. Can get excited about it and get brought in to the point where I sent him this trailer today and he said, when are we watching it? He is excited and amped up for more Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe. So again, to other people out there, maybe it's not, the perfect one, but give it a chance. Let it breathe new life in the Masters of the Universe. Let people get excited about what they want to. Sure, not everybody's going to be 100% happy about it. Nobody ever is. You can't make 100% of the people happy, but what you can do is you can try to make 1% of the people happy. And if you succeed, you succeeded. That was kind of a lame thing at the end I tried to throw in there. Sound on.
If you succeed, you've succeeded.
That's my Bushism for the night.
I believe in that. Well, all right. Now that we're at the end, we're right at the marker where we usually close up shop. Guys, what's going on for you? What's coming up? What's exciting? Not what's exciting. What's coming up for you? I mean, that's exciting too. What's coming up? What's around the bend for you all?
Tomorrow night I'm on Off-World, and I'm probably gonna pass the hell out because I've been doing this how many days now. I am the guy dealing with my kids in the morning because my wife's been into work at like 7:15 almost all week. So I'm just like, how the hell am I doing this again? But yeah, I'm doing Off-World with the guys tomorrow night, and we're going over our best of 2023 stuff, action figures, shows, movies, stuff like that. And I guess whenever the Dooch finally has heat in his house, we'll do another Legends of Grayskull and talk about what I talked about here, but I'll do it with him. And there'll be probably more yelling and gnashing of teeth because he was very angry today. So there's that.
Yeah. I felt for him today, man. That's rough. Dooch, I feel for you, my friend. For stuff like that to happen when it's cold, that is not cool. So absolutely. I feel for you. How about you, Adam? Oz?
I've got an article on Gigantosaur. It's up on my Patreon right now, and then it'll be out for everybody next week.
Nice.
Epic. One of the unproduced Motu toys. So
maybe it'll come out. Maybe it'll come out.
That would be cool.
Skelly, when can we expect that next build video?
This weekend. What? Jumping right back in. I mean, it's weekend. Putting my weekend warrior hat on, and I'll get a little bit more done. And I've gotten some pretty positive feedback on the sort of the more thorough explanations of what I'm doing as part of the narrative of those videos. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'm excited. So you can expect more of that this weekend.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you guys know where you can all